I hope you didn't mind my picking this place, Peg. It's not the original that you're used to in Paris, the real thing and all that, sir. But Mom and Pop did like to take us here when we were kids.
C'est très touchant. C'est parfait, Neil.
Can you take it easy? You know I almost flunked French when I was in high school, remember?
Oh, no. You did flunk French in high school.
Oh, and you never forget anything, do you?
Not a thing. I think it's perfect, Neil. Brings back so many memories. Nice ones.
Yeah. I wish the folks were alive now to see you all grown up. A budding artist. One dishy-looking chick, too.
Oh, thank you. You always were my #1 fan.
Peg, it's really nice to have you home.
It's really nice to be here. First thing tomorrow, I'm going to look for my own apartment.
Why? There's plenty of room in my place. Stay as long as you like.
Well, I just don't want to cramp your style, big brother.
You're sure it's not your style we're cramping?
Oh, you didn't expect me to spend all my time in Paris just studying, did you?
I certainly did. You know, it looks like we're keeping everybody up here. Are you ready? Good.
Neil, I promised myself I wasn't going to ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't resist. When did you decide you needed that beard?
A couple of weeks ago. It looks very distingué, don't you?
Oh, Mr. Giroux. I hope everything was all right.
I was perfect as usual, Michelle.
Thank you. Et vous, Mademoiselle Giroux?
Ah oui, Michel, votre cuisine est toujours excellente.
Oh, wait a minute. I'll go get the car and I'll see you out front.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Comment ça va, Michel?
Très bien, merci. Et j'espère que votre séjour en France a été agréable.
God, Neil! Please, is anybody here? Can someone help us? Don't move. Don't move, Bobby. I'll get some help. Michelle!
Oh, Miss Giroux, what's wrong?
My brother's been hit by a car.
Oh.
No, wait. Call an ambulance. First thing he's hurt very badly.
Yes, right away.
Well, of course.
Andre, let me have the phone.
Hurry!
The phone, please. I've got to call the
Hurry!
phone right back. Thank you.
My brother's been hurt. Do you have a blanket?
Well, a blanket, no, but how about some brandy? That'll keep him warm.
Yes.
Hello? Yes, there has been an accident at 521 Saint Remo Street. A man was hit by a car. In front of Michel's restaurant. Please hurry. Thank you.
Coming.
Yes, right away. Where is he?
He's gone.
I don't understand.
He was just crossing the street to get the car and he was hit.
Miss Giroux, maybe you just, comment dit-on,
No, I saw him run down. He was lying there bleeding. Michel, I saw it with my own eyes. Barnaby? Sorry.
You sure this is the spot?
Yes, I remember. He was right there.
No trace of blood.
The police didn't find any blood either, Mr. Jones, but he was bleeding.
Well, I guess we covered all the bases.
You've got to help me find my brother. I've got nowhere else to turn.
Peggy, the police didn't report any accident. Neither did the hospital treat anyone who resembled a description of your brother.
Barnaby, what if... Well, supposing he had a head injury, and he got up from the accident and just wandered away without really knowing what he was doing.
Amnesia?
It's possible, isn't it?
No, no. He was hurt too badly. He couldn't have gotten up.
Barnaby. This is Michelle. He's the owner of the restaurant, Barnaby Jones.
How do you do?
You know Miss Giraud? It's Betty Jones.
Michelle, tell them what happened.
Mr. Jones, as I just told your associate, the only thing I know about an accident is what Miss Giroux told me.
And you didn't see it?
Nothing. I came outside and the street was deserted. If you want my opinion...
I didn't imagine it. It happened.
I'm sorry, Miss Giroux, but you and your brother had quite a bit of wine. And, well...
I only had one glass. I am telling you, he really was hit, and he was really lying right there.
I only know what I saw.
Thank you, Michelle.
You don't believe me either, do you? I can see it in your faces. You think I'm crazy.
Peggy, that's not true.
Barnaby! Look at this.
What'd you find? There's a tissue. It looks like there's blood on it.
That's right. I used a tissue to wipe some blood from Neil's face.
This could be the one. Peggy, did you say that your brother was a broker in heavy machinery?
Yeah. He has his own company, Westland Engineering Corporation.
Betty, would you check out that company, please?
All right. Meet you back at the office?
Yes, we'll call you as soon as we take Peggy home.
Clue? What about in here?
I've looked in there already. Check the other bedroom.
I'm telling you, if it's anywhere in this apartment, it's invisible.
It's got to be somewhere, Ray. And we've got to find it.
I've lived here for almost 5 years.
Heavy machinery pays well. Mind if we have a look around?
No, whatever you want, Mr. Jones. Perhaps you'd like to start with his desk?
Peggy, you said you had a picture of Neil that we could borrow?
Yes. It's in the bedroom. I'll get it for you.
Peggy? You paint this?
Yes. That's what I was doing in Paris. Studying art.
It's terrific.
Thank you. This is the most recent one I had. It was taken about a year ago. Oh, he has a beard now.
This curtain didn't knock that off.
Mr. Jones, that window wasn't open either.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I was in here. And I remember locking it before I left today. Someone's been here. I am sure of it.
Why don't we look at this?
Yeah, somebody's been in here, all right.
Someone's been through this closet. Everything's just a little out of place.
Check all the doors and windows. Any idea what he might have been after?
No.
Your brother worried about anything?
No, I told you, seemed fine, just like always.
Was Neil going with anyone?
No. He never said anything, but there is a picture of a girl that he keeps around. Here.
To Neil, my love always Jan.
Have you any idea who this Jan is?
No.
Obviously in show business, she's leaning on a camera.
Those are dancer's legs if I've ever seen them, Barnaby.
A resident leg expert. Nobody better qualified.
Hello? Yes, hold on, please. It's for you, Mr. Jones, Betty.
Betty, I'm glad you called. I want you to find a girl for me. Name is Jan. She's a brunette, long hair, dancer's legs. Very pretty, very sultry looking.
Barnaby, this isn't a personal request, is it?
I think you'll find her in television or motion pictures or nightclubs. See if you can locate her.
All right, I'll do what I can. Oh, now wait. Wait till you hear what I came up with.
Thank you, Betty. It's very interesting.
What is it?
The company Neil said he worked with, Westland Engineering Corporation, doesn't exist.
I don't understand.
It never did exist. Which means that your brother was deliberately lying about what he was doing, but the question is, why?
Jan Redbone?
Ah, you're the man from dance today. My agent told me you'd be coming by for the interview.
I hate to disappoint you, but I'm not from dance today.
You're not?
My name is Barnaby Jones. I'm a private investigator. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
About what?
You know a man named Neil Giroux?
Yes,
When's the last time you saw him?
about a week ago. Why?
He disappeared last night.
Disappeared?
Yes, I'm afraid so. What do you know about him?
I'm not sure. Sometimes I think I know everything, and other times he's a total stranger. I know he's very successful, something to do with heavy machinery. He likes to travel a lot.
Do you know where he travels to?
No. Whenever I would ask, he managed to change the subject. I used to kid him about being a secret agent.
What else?
I know I love him, and I think he loves me in his way. But I also know that he's seeing someone else. Maybe that's where he's disappeared, with her.
Why don't you tell me about it? It could be so very helpful. His sister's awfully worried about him.
Well, about 6 weeks ago, he broke a date with me at the last minute. He said it was business. I didn't believe him. So I waited outside of his place and then followed him to an apartment on Laura Vista. Not exactly an office building.
Did you get a look at the girl?
No. I suddenly got an attack of pride. So I went home, packed, left the next morning to do a television show in New York. I was gone about 2 weeks.
What was that address?
Mr. Jones, this isn't very easy for me.
I'm sure it isn't. I can appreciate that, but it would help so very much if you could give me that address.
315 South Laura Vista, apartment 7.
Thank you very much. Good luck on the interview.
Well, that's one lock you won't be able to open with a plastic credit card.
Thanks, JR. That's really nice of you.
Well, you're easy to be nice to. But listen, I got an idea. Been a long day and probably hungry, so why don't I run out and pick something up? What do you like? Italian? Chinese?
Couldn't. I'm too worried about Neil.
Oh, come on, Peg. It's gonna work out. You'll see. Look, as soon as we straighten this out, you and I are gonna celebrate. Because I know this terrific place at the beach with candlelight and lobster, white wine. How's that sound?
Sounds great. I'll take a rain check, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Doesn't Neil Giroux live here anymore?
Yes, I'm his sister Peggy.
Peggy? Jim Rhodes. You don't remember me.
Jim Rhodes. Jim! Come in. Come in. I'm sorry. It's just been such a long time.
It certainly has. The last time I saw you, you were about that high. You had freckles, skin knees, and braces.
Well, on the bright light, you can still see the freckles.
I can't get over it. Didn't Neil tell me you're living in Paris?
Yes, I was. I just got back last week. Oh, I'm sorry. Jim, this is J.R. Jones.
Hi, Jim.
This is Jim Rhodes, an old friend of Neil's.
Nice to meet you. Now, where is that tiger? I phoned him I was going to be in town.
He's not here.
Well, where is he?
Last night, he was in an accident. Hit and run. I went to get help. When I came back, he was gone. No one's seen him since.
I don't understand. You mean he just disappeared?
Yes. I've hired J.R. to help find him.
Are you with a detective agency?
Yeah, when was the last time you saw Neil?
Oh, it's been over a year. I've been out of the country also. I work for an oil company in Tehran.
Excuse me.
Tehran. Sounds
Hello?
interesting.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Very.
Hold on, please. J.R., it's Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
So, he just...
Yeah, Barnaby.
Everything all right over there?
Fine. What'd you find out?
I found out the address of another girl Neil was seeing. I'm on my way over there now.
Well, listen, maybe I'll join you. Peggy will be okay. She's with a friend of Neil's.
315 South Laura Vista. I'll see you out front.
Okay, I'm on my way.
Any news?
Not yet. Listen, I'll call you later. Nice meeting you.
Same here. Hey, come on, Peg. I'm sure there must be some simple explanation.
Where is it, Neil? Now, what have you done with it? Where did you put it, Neil? Where, Neil?
Sounds like he's saying Ivan.
Who is Ivan, Neil? Neil, where is it? Where did you put it? Give him another shot.
He needs his rest, Mr. Buchanan.
And I need information now. You bring him too.
Barnaby, you sure this is the right address?
Isn't exactly what I pictured for Neil.
Candy Mason.
Oh, and here I thought it was going to be just another run-of-the-mill evening.
Miss Mason,
My friends call me Candy.
I wonder if we could talk to you for a few minutes inside.
Mm-mm. Outside's for talk, inside's for action.
I'm afraid you misunderstood. My name is Barnaby Jones. I'm a private investigator. This is my associate, Jedediah Jones.
I always wanted to meet the Jones boys. What do you want?
You know a guy named Neil Giroux?
It's possible, but I'm not very good on names.
Well, he was seen entering your apartment.
When?
About 6 weeks ago.
This apartment here?
Number 7.
Well, then he wasn't coming to see me because I've only been here a couple of weeks. I used to live upstairs, but after the murder, they couldn't give this place away, so I got it for a steal. Twice the space, half the rent.
What murder was that?
You didn't read about it? There was a man who was shot dead right there in that living room.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading something about that. Guy named Smith.
Harry Smith.
Yeah, I was doing my midterm on homicide when I noticed the item. About 6 weeks ago.
You know, you would be surprised how many Smiths and Joneses there are in this trap. Oh, I'm sorry. Nothing personal.
Was the killer ever caught?
He's still on the loose, even though we did give the police a description.
You saw him?
Some of us did when he was running down the hall.
What did he look like?
Well, he was tall. I'd say he was over 6 feet. He had a good build, like an athlete, and he had dark brown hair. You know, he was kind of cute.
He looked like that?
You know something? He sure did. But I told the police he was moving so fast. You can see how dark these corridors are. I wouldn't want to swear to it in court, but oh boy, does that look like the killer to me.
All my dinner dates ain't as little as you. I'd be a rich man by now.
Jim, I warned you I wouldn't be very good company.
Look, you've got to remember, there is a logical explanation for everything, including what happened to Neil. So just hang in there, all right?
I'm trying.
I know you are. Look, I still say Neil is going to be all right. Peg, I have known him a long time. He can handle anything. Believe me, he can.
I sure hope so.
Look, why don't you get us some coffee, huh?
Okay. Hello? Yes, he is. Hold on, please. It's for you. Who knows you're here?
Oh, I left a number with the hotel, in case my office wanted to get in touch with me. I hope you don't mind. It could be important.
Of course not. Well, you can take it over there if you want.
Yeah, thanks. Hello. Yes. Did you get those contracts?
What have you got?
Nothing yet, Mr. Buchanan. I'm not even sure she knows anything. How's it going on your end?
Well, we've given him a drug. It seems like he's saying the word Ivanhoe. Does that mean anything to you?
Yes, well, I'll look into that.
Coffee will be ready in a minute.
Fine. We used to go to a restaurant by that name in San Francisco, but I can't see the connection. The only thing I can think of is the book. Is the book. Just hold on a minute. I think I found it, Mr. Buchanan. Looks like a key to a safety deposit box.
Get right over here.
Yeah, okay. I'll be right there. Peg? Peg?
Everything okay?
Something important's come up, and I've got to go. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too.
That's how it is with the oil business. Never sleeps, never takes vacation. Look, I'll call you tomorrow. Get some rest, huh? Okay, I'll let myself out.
Very good, Lieutenant. May we have a few minutes of your time?
Did you find me anyway, Barnaby? It's my day off.
Well, I knew you needed to practice. There was a murder about 6 weeks ago, a fellow named Harry Smith.
Yeah? Well, can you tell us something about it?
It's hard to tell. He was shot to death. It's not a very nice neighborhood.
Well, I've been in worse, so we checked. His name isn't Harry Smith at all. It's Leo Patterson. We heard he was some kind of a big-time gambler or something.
You know, you're getting more like him every day. Let's go in here. What else is here?
Well, he seems to have overplayed his hand a little while back. He ripped off some people in Chicago for about $200,000. They didn't like it. They let a contract on him. Any idea who took the contract, Lieutenant?
No, just that he's one of the best in the business. Past 3 years alone, he's hunted down and killed 5 men.
How do you know it's the same hitman?
Same M.O. Right down to packing his own bullets. But he's slipping, Barnaby.
Because the last time there were witnesses?
Maybe they couldn't pick him out of a lineup, but it means he's getting careless. And I don't think that endears him very much to the people he works for.
Any idea who that might be?
Ever hear of a man named Paul Buchanan?
Just the usual rumors. He was behind some very important hits, contracted for by the mob.
Some. Dig behind his classy real estate operation. Our intelligence people tell us that he runs an organization that makes Murder Incorporated seem like a Wednesday night sewing circle.
There's no hard evidence, all right?
Oh, but that could change if we find the man who snuffed out Patterson.
Before Buchanan decides that a careless professional murderer is a dead professional murderer?
Something like that, yeah. What's your interest in this thing, anyway?
Well, you know that accident case that I've been working on I told you about? I think it's Italian.
Oh. Well, I was going to call you on that anyway. We picked up a man who owns a car that matches the description we got from Peggy Giroux.
The hit-and-run driver.
Yeah, we expect a confession any minute.
Any connection to Buchanan?
No, it's just some damn fool who had too much to drink.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant. We'll be in touch.
All right.
Well, how's our patient today, huh? You look like $1 million. Here, easy does it now. Come on. In we go. Easy now. Go in there. Atta boy. You know, you can't be too careful, Neil. I almost forgot about that gun. That's how much I trusted you to deep six it.
Yeah, well, it's like you always said, Paul. Trust is for the banks, isn't it?
Tell me, Neil, how long has it been since I went on my last hit with you, huh? That big mouth in Detroit that I blew up. What was that, about 10, 11 years ago?
Something like that.
Uh-huh. And all the time, you kept the gun I used squirreled away with my fingerprints on it. Oh, Neil, now what kind of a friend are you, huh?
Will you knock it off? I didn't lose that gun because I needed life insurance. I figured someday you'd be putting a contract out on me.
Well, now, what did you expect? You blew the Patterson hit.
He's dead, isn't he?
Sure. But a couple of people saw you running away. Now, they nail you. Now, where does that leave me?
You knew I'd never talk.
In my heart, I know. But, Neil, there are other people to consider.
Business is business.
Oh, Neil, why didn't you quit when you had the chance, huh? Why did you have to get so greedy, huh?
I guess I'm like you, Paul. I figured I'd go on forever.
What about Paul Buchanan?
Paul Buchanan? Neil's never mentioned his name. Who is he?
He's what they call a contractor. He doesn't build houses or buildings. He contracts to kill people.
I don't understand. What would Neil be doing with a man like that?
Peggy, recently a contract was put out on a gambler, and we believe that Neil was spotted leaving the scene of the murder.
Neil?
We're not absolutely certain, but we're pretty sure that your brother works for Buchanan.
Could be even his top man.
Neil, a killer? What are you talking about? I don't believe it. You're lying to me.
Hey, look, if you know anything...
You don't know him. He's my brother. He couldn't hurt anyone, not Neil. J.R., you've got to tell me it's not true. J.R., tell me it's not true.
Wish I could. I'm sorry. God, I'm sorry.
Oh, here's the key. Neil? No tricks, huh?
You got all the cards, Paul.
May I help you?
Yes, I'd like to get something out of my box. 714.
Just sign your name here and your box number. Are you both going in?
Yes.
Then you'll have to sign on this line right here. Mr. Giroux. Would you mind signing your name again, please?
Hmm?
Well, the signature on your application's a little bit different.
You're pulling anything.
That's better. Signatures have a way of changing over the years. This way? Your key, Mr. Giroux?
Oh.
Here you go.
Thank you.
All right, let's have it.
So this is what all the commotion was about.
Yeah, that's it. Now let's have it back again.
What are you doing?
And don't you forget, I've got nothing to lose. Miss?
Yes? Finished?
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
It's beginning to look up. This way. Right this way, Sands. Nice and easy. Come on, get up there. Over here. Now, beat it. Stay put, man. Just stay where you're...
You're not gonna get away with it, Neil! Get him. I'll get Buchanan.
Hello? Peggy, this is Betty. Is Barnaby there?
Yes, he was, but he left, Betty.
About how long ago?
Oh, Betty, can you hold on, please? There's somebody at the door. Jim!
Get your coat.
Why? What's happening?
I'll tell you in the car. Just move.
Jim, I'm on the phone. What are you talking about? I have to...
I'm sure it's not very important. Now, look. You and I are gonna walk out of here like two old friends going for a Sunday drive, and you better cooperate with me if you want to see your brother alive again. Let's move.
Oh, Barnaby, thank heavens.
What's the matter?
Well, I was just talking to Peggy. And a man came to her door, told her to put on her coat. She asked where they were going, and he didn't say. Then someone hung up the phone. I tried calling her back, but no answer.
Any idea who the man was?
I'm positive I heard the name Jim.
Oh, wait a minute, that friend of Neil's I met yesterday, Jim Rhodes.
Anything further on Paul Buchanan?
He seems to do rather well in real estate.
Office buildings, apartments.
Pays his mortgages in blood, no doubt. Nice guy.
Wait a minute.
What'd you find?
Suncrest Sanitarium, Palisades Road.
Yeah, if Neil was hurt in that accident.
Yeah, that's someplace they could have taken him. We'll check that out. Keep trying Peggy. See what you can get on Jim Rhodes.
Will do.
Hello? Hold on. Tim.
Neil? I figured I wouldn't have to wait too long to hear from you.
Yeah, well, you better listen to what I have to say now. I'm ready to make a deal.
I'm listening.
I want $500,000 for that gun.
That's a lot of money.
It's peanuts compared to spending the rest of your life in prison.
Well, I guess you do have a point. But before we shake on it, there's someone here I think you should talk to.
Neil,
Peggy, what are you doing there?
Jim Rhodes brought me here. Neil, the things they've been telling me about you, they're true, aren't they?
Okay, Neil, my turn. You have 1 hour to turn over that gun.
What happens to my sister?
You deliver, she walks out free. If you don't, you leave me no choice. Understand?
I understand.
It looks peaceful enough.
Maybe that's why they call them sanitariums.
Want to be over there. It's Jim Rhodes.
Take a look down there. Doesn't he look like the fella that was in the picture that Peggy gave us?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's Neil Giroux. Something funny's going on here, Barnaby.
Well, there's one way to find out what. Hang up, Neil.
Now, look, whatever Buchanan is paying you, I'll double it.
Wrong team. We're working for Peggy.
We're helping her try to find you.
Peggy, always a family warrior. You're not going to use that thing to force me to go home like a bad boy, are you?
I understand the police are looking for you, too.
You got to believe me. I haven't got time to paint in the soft colors. You're getting in my way now could cost Peggy her life.
Why would Buchanan want to hurt your sister?
That's who Jim Rhodes delivered her to, isn't it?
Yeah.
What does he really want?
Me? And this gun?
Why?
Buchanan used it on a hit some time ago. His fingerprints are all over it.
You gotta be kidding if you think he's gonna let her go after he gets his hands on that.
It was a long shot. I had to take a chance. I thought I had a chance until I saw Rhodes outside.
So you thought you'd make a phone call and negotiate a new deal?
Lousy odds, but I don't care about myself anymore. I've got to get Peggy out of there.
All right, Neil, make your call. But if you don't mind, I'll tell you what to say.
Get the gate.
Okay.
Neil? Let's have the gun.
I told you what I wanted over the phone. You get the gun when she drives out of here.
Sure, Neil, sure. That's the deal.
Neil,
Peggy,
are you all right?
you've got to trust me. No matter what happens, you trust me.
We've wasted enough time, Neil, huh?
Start driving to the front gate.
All right, Neil. I kept my end of the bargain. Now let's have the gun.
The other one, too.
Close the gate!
What are you doing?
Get the girl!
All right, easy, Neil, easy. Let's go.
Back up. Real easy. Now take your gun out and throw it on the ground.
Hold it! That'd be a big mistake.
I take his word for it.
Peg, don't feel bad. It wasn't your fault.
Why did you do it?
I don't know. It was easy. You paid. It was the shortest cut to the things that I wanted, I guess. Peg, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it all turned out this way.
Me?
All right, come on, let's go. Come on, Jerome.
I'm afraid the office closes at 5:30. Oh, it's Mr. Jones' associate, J.R. Jones.
Hi, fellas. What's the problem?
They want to hire Barnaby. I've explained that he won't be back until late tonight.
Yeah, like we said, we'll wait. You know, fellas, I'm afraid we're in a little bit of a crunch right now, and we can't really take on any new clients.
Does he, talk for the big man?
He's the only one who does.
Your relative?
Yeah, I'm his cousin. Listen, maybe I can recommend another private investigator.
Save it.
I
was really glad to see you.
Well, thanks for the confidence, but did you see that one guy was a foot bigger than me? In all directions?
You were really cool.
Only on the outside. Did they say what they wanted?
Just that they insisted on talking to Barnaby.
Have you heard from him?
Yes, he called to say that he wouldn't be back until about 8. And to remind you to pick up the report from the police on the insurance case.
Ah, did California Meridian send over the authorization for the police to release the report? They did. Well, I better get it in gear, because when I'm through with this, I have to hit the books at the law library.
I thought you said you had a date with Debbie to, patch things up.
8 sharp. And if I'm late, I blow 2 weeks of plea bargaining.
Good luck.
Thank you. Well, if you want it, fellas, it's yours.
You're going with us, or you're going to Slab City.
All right, one last time. I don't know who you are, and I don't know where you're from, but right now you're facing a kidnapping rap.
Yeah? So
I just hate to see you take the big fall. Look, I tell you what, I'll take a walk, and we'll forget the whole thing, okay?
hey, stay loose, smart mouth. Only one dude calls the shots around here, and he wants to talk to you.
Who's this yo-yo?
Barnaby Jones wasn't there. Chick in the office says he's Jones' associate.
Yeah, and his cousin, too. What's the matter with you guys? I send you after the big man, you bring me his cousin?
Hey, look, we all make mistakes, right? I'll tell you the truth, you're absolutely right. I'm not even in Barnaby Jones's class. So if it's okay with you guys, I'll just be on my way and no hard feelings.
Hit the brakes, man. What do they call you?
JR.
And you work with Jones?
Part-time, I'm studying to be a lawyer.
Come on, Duke. I told you, this whole thing stinks, man. We don't need no private cops sticking their nose in our business, man.
Shut up, Vic. I think this is my man. There's no way Barnaby Jones can pass for one of us on the street, but he can.
Oh, let's not get carried away. And nobody's even told me why I'm here.
You know what that is?
It's a scorpion, right?
Yeah.
I read about you guys in the paper, something about somebody from another gang killing one of your leaders night before last.
Yeah, my co-captain Marco Wilson.
And that means a war between the two gangs and more killings.
That's the way it is, man. See, but Marco and me were looking for a better way. And now I'm on my own and I need some help.
Like what?
You find the dude who snuffed Marco and there's a chance I can keep the war from going down.
Now, wait a minute. You're not gonna pass off that responsibility on me.
That's where it's at, man.
Well, I got news for you, man. I don't appreciate being kidnapped.
You wouldn't have come any other way.
What makes you so sure?
Because it's a one-way trip if you don't deliver. If there is a war, you'll know a little too much for us to leave you around alive.
How much time do I have?
Gang's uptight. I don't know how long I can keep them from going after the Hawks. A day, maybe 2.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
And the Hawks aren't the only suspects.
What do you mean?
The Hawks ought to be making a lot of noise about snuffing a Scorpion leader, but they're not. It could mean one of our own guys did it.
Oh, great.
Come on, I want you to meet the boys.
You shouldn't have waited around for me, baby.
Oh, well, I had those letters to get out. Besides, I missed you. Especially this afternoon.
Why, what happened?
Oh, I was here by myself, and these 2 young, tough fellas came in.
What was their problem?
Well, they wanted to see you, and wouldn't leave without seeing you. Thank heavens JR came in and convinced them that we weren't going to take on any new clients. Oh, it seems silly now, but at the time, it was pretty scary. Nope.
Jedediah doesn't answer?
I figured that he is on his way to his date with Debbie.
So unlike Jedediah, not to bring back a police report.
I'm sure he felt that you'd be too tired to read through it tonight and was going to bring it by tomorrow.
Watch the street, soldier.
It's like a noisy break-in. Didn't anybody hear it?
Yeah, the neighbors.
Well, didn't they call the police?
They minded their own business.
Looks like he lost an awful lot of blood. How many times was he shot?
Doc, only once, in the abdomen. The bullet must have hit some vital organs.
Where'd you hear that?
The ME who was here told me it was a small caliber slug in the gut. If it missed the vitals, that wouldn't be fatal. I guarantee it.
What, are you into medicine or something?
Yeah, everything I can read.
I don't suppose the neighbors told the police what time they heard the shot.
Yeah, they told us it was 10:30.
Right after I dropped him off.
Then it figures that the killer was probably in here waiting for him. Were there signs of a fight?
No, it must have been an ambush.
I don't want you here. Get out, all of you.
Mrs. Wilson, I'm sorry. We didn't know that you'd be home.
How did you get in?
Through the back door. I'll have one of the guys put a piece of glass in it for you.
No, don't touch it. I don't want to see your faces around here ever again.
Oh, who needs this, man? She's stoned.
Shut up, Vic! You took my son. What more do you want?
We got a private eye working for us, Mrs. Wilson. He's gonna find the creep that killed Marco.
Well, I can save you the trouble. They killed my boy. Every one of them. If it wasn't for their rotten gang and their stupid fighting, he'd still be alive.
Mrs. Wilson, why don't you sit down here? Come on.
Doctor probably has her on sedatives and we woke her up.
Would you like some water?
Please, just leave.
Come on.
You've been bothering my mother.
We didn't mean to, Tina. We didn't think anybody would be home.
Duke, I told you how she felt about the scorpions, and you said you'd stay away.
I had a reason. I want you to meet J.R. Jones. He's a private cop. He's trying to find out who killed Marco, and he wanted to see where it all went down.
My brother's gone, and that's where it ends for us. It's only the scorpions that have to have their revenge.
Cops.
Been looking for you, Duke. Why the runaround? Too busy talking war?
Me? Come on, is that what you think?
I know how tight you were with Marco. Now, he was a straight dude, not like this psycho you got for a co-captain now.
It's democracy at work, Sarge. Vic got himself duly elected.
New recruit?
No, it's my cousin J.R. He's down from Frisco. He's staying with me.
Sergeant Joe Dean.
Congratulations.
That's funny, Marco getting snuffed in his pad. The Hawks usually operate in the street where there's plenty of getaway room, like you guys.
You asking or telling?
Same old tune, huh? Nobody saw anything, nobody knows anything. I thought since it was Marco, it might be different this time. My mistake.
Hey, why don't you get off our backs, Dean? We could take care of our own problems, you know?
It's my problem, too, and don't forget it. And listen, dummies, Marco's killer belongs to me. Now, you snuff him, or declare war on our Hawks, and I'll come down hard on every one of you.
Like I told you before, JR, there's only one other way to go. It's all up to you.
Well, aren't you the early bird?
Betty, I'm worried about Jedediah. I called him last night. I called him again this morning at 7 o'clock. He wasn't in.
Do you think we should call Debbie's?
I called her. I got her number out of his book, but she said he didn't even show up for the date last night.
I don't understand that. He was very anxious about getting there on time to pick her up.
Betty, I don't usually worry about Jedediah, but there's something out of kilter here.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I've been around detectives too long, but you know those two men that I told you about yesterday? Well, JR left right after they did.
What did they look like?
Young, tough, street types. Oh, they were dressed well enough, but I felt that they would be more comfortable in leather jackets.
Betty, remember that youth gang conference the county sponsored a few months ago?
Yes, you were on the panel.
Afterward, I had a rap session with a couple of young fellows, Duke Moran and Marco Wilson. They were co-leaders of one of the hardcore gangs, the Scorpions.
Barnaby, both of them had what looked like scorpions tattooed on the back of their hand. You think the two men I talked to yesterday were the same ones you met at the gang conference?
I don't know, but I'm sure gonna find out. I guess I owe you one, dude.
I got the word you wanted to talk to me. Got a lot of guts coming down here alone.
Maybe, but the way I figure it, I won't be alone going back. I'll have JR to keep me company. Where is he?
JR who?
My associate. A couple of your boys came by the office yesterday. JR hasn't been seen since.
Why would my people want to grab this JR?
My guess is because I wasn't around and he was. Police told me about your friend Marco. Figures there's a connection.
You remember Marco?
At that conference, I told you and Marco I'd like to help. That still goes, but I want JR first.
Same old mouth music. Everybody wants to help until you have to put it on the line.
Try me.
Maybe we already have. Maybe we've got your associate JR down here to help us, and you come down here to yank him out.
I came down here to ask you man to man to let JR go. But that doesn't seem to cut any ice. So now I'm going to tell you. I want a phone call from JR within an hour telling me that he is free and unharmed. If I don't get that, I'm coming back with an army of police. And we're going to take your turf apart.
Oh, hold on. He just walked in. It's JR.
Jedediah?
Barnaby, I'm okay. Really, I am.
The Scorpions have a gun to your head?
No, but they're not about to let me go either.
I'll call Lieutenant Biddle and we'll be on our way.
Oh, no, hold it, Barnaby. I wish you'd give me a little more time before you do that. Because there's a chance of stopping this gang war if I can find Marco's killer.
And there's a chance you could get your foot cut in the ringer.
Now, wait a minute. Listen to me, Barnaby. You know, I've seen enough to know that the Scorpions need all the help that they can get, and I just would like to give it my best shot.
You're a pretty muley kid, Jedediah. This time you might get yourself killed. I don't like to, but I'll stay put if that's the way you want it.
Thanks, Barnaby.
And stay in touch. I'm going to check a few things. I may want to pull you out fast.
Okay, I sure will. Talk to you later. Goodbye.
Before you came in, JR asked if you'd look up the police and autopsy reports on Marco's murder.
Go over to police headquarters and pick up a copy of that insurance case report we never got. And while you're there, get a copy of the one on Marco.
I thought we had a truce going, man.
Takes two.
Don't try to snow me, Max. First Marco gets snuffed, and then last night a couple of your dudes pulled a chariot attack.
Yeah, well, I didn't send him. What do you want from me?
Look, punk, I'm busting my gut trying to keep my troops in line, but I can't cut it unless you take care of business.
Hey, what's the use? We know the Scorpions think that we snuffed Marco. Now, that means war, whether you and I like it or not. My men in the cherry were just getting in the first shot. There was the dude with Crazy Vic.
J.R. Jones. It's a private eye.
Who's the Hawks captain?
Name's Max Tate. They call him the Magician.
How come?
Because he likes to play hit and run. Yeah, the Hawks are always showing up when you're not expecting them. I got another name for Max. Chicken.
Who's the chick over there?
Chick? That's a woman, Jack. Sherry Gordon. Went to the same high school. Until I dropped out.
How come she's here?
She hangs around with the Hawks, but she ought to hook up with the Scorpions, which would be appreciated.
She Max's old lady?
Nah, Max don't have one. Hey, I don't know what he's saving it for, because I got the feeling he ain't going to be around long enough to, enjoy it.
J.R. Come here.
You work with Barnaby Jones, right?
That's right.
I met him at the county rap session. He seemed straight.
Now you can believe it.
Okay. I'll play the game as long as I can, but I'll tell you this right now. If a Hawk iced the Scorpions' #2 man, he'd be broadcasting it.
Look, everybody on the street knows you and Marco had a private little war going on.
Really? What about?
I'm a Hawk. He's a Scorpion. We're natural enemies. Right?
I tell you, man, with frank answers like that and the kind of cooperation I've seen around here so far, got about as much of a chance of solving this case as an icicle in a heat wave, as Barnaby would say.
Max!
Hold it. Sorry about that. I just wanted to ask you to check to see where all your people were when Marco was murdered.
Why not?
Oh, I think he's cute, Max. Why don't I invite him to join the Hawks personally?
Cool it, Sherry. Yeah, the guy's got guts, I'll give him that.
Tina, can I talk to you for a minute? What time do you get off work?
Not till 10.
Oh, we can't wait for an hour. Sit down.
Tina,
Everybody knows there was bad blood between Max and your brother, but nobody knows why. Did he ever talk about it?
He never told me anything about gang business. Why can't you guys just leave us alone? Isn't Marco's life enough for our family to give to the Scorpions?
Hey, this isn't a revenge thing for me. I don't have a choice. Now look, this morning I saw Crazy Vic come on to you, and you put him down like it wasn't the first time.
It wasn't. Vic's always hitting on me.
Well, did Marco know that?
Yeah, and he didn't like it. But I told him like I'll tell you. I can take care of myself. Look, I gotta go. Hello?
Let me see what's on the jukebox.
Look, I can't talk now. Hey, that's not gonna be easy. All right, where? Yeah, I know it. The garage at Tucker and 9th. Okay, 11. Bye.
Tony, check the kitchen.
She's split. Tina! Tina, get down!
Why are they after our chicks?
Could be they aren't choosy. Could be they are. Either way, we better find out before they stop missing. Don't quit on me. Now, I'm telling you, Tina has some answers. She just doesn't know it. I've got to talk to her alone. She's not going to open up if you're there.
So talk to her in the morning.
The morning may be too late.
It's already too late. They're using our chicks for target practice. I had to send the challenge.
Look, the whole thing could be a mistake. You yourself admitted that the car that attacked Tina didn't even belong to the Hawks.
So what? So they ripped it off from a used car lot. What else is new?
All right, let's get out of here. I just rounded up a few more of these.
Where are they?
In my van out and back.
Move it. I don't want them there for the same reason I don't want our dudes running down the street with guns shoved in their belts. That's just what Dean's cops are going to be looking for, trying to find the battlefield. They could even show up here.
All right, relax, man. I just wanted to show them to you, that's all.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, no. Come on, grab a mattress. Come on. Put it out fast. It's red. Come on, come on.
He's got my car keys!
I really missed you, baby. When I heard about Marco, I wanted to come right over. I should have been there with you and your ma.
I know I wanted to call, but I was so afraid.
So stupid.
Gotta get away from here before it's too late.
I tried to reach my uncle up in Fresno, but he's out of town or something.
What are we gonna do? I heard Duke and the guys talking war. You said there wouldn't be any more.
That was before the Scorpions challenged us. Now I don't have any choice. It was Duke's job to keep the lid on his troops.
He was until someone tried to kill me tonight.
What?
Someone in a car took a shot at me.
You think it was one of my people?
Who else?
I don't know. Maybe it's somebody who wants this rumble to happen. Okay, sucker.
Easy, Max. I'm clean.
He was in the diner when you called. He must have followed me.
Well, this certainly explains the beef between you and Marco, huh, Max? He found out about you two, and he didn't want to admit that his own sister was seeing the captain of the Hawks, and you certainly didn't want the other Hawks to know, right? So you had to kill him.
No. We love each other. Max wouldn't kill my brother.
Maybe it wasn't on purpose. Maybe Max was waiting in the house for you, Marco walked in, and maybe it was self-defense.
Wait, man. I don't ever go near Scorpion turf, so forget about their houses. I'm the prize every Scorpion punk is trying to blow away.
Can't you understand? I'm the reason he went along with my brother and Duke. It's why there hasn't been a war for months. He loves me.
But he could never have you unless he got rid of Marco. That's a heavy motive.
You're not hanging this on me, man.
Max, no. He saved my life at the diner.
Okay. This time. But you tell anybody about us, I'll find you, man.
Hello.
What a great bedroom voice. You know, you ought to use it at the office.
JR? Is that you? Are you all right?
Listen, I'm sorry to wake you, but I couldn't get an answer at Barnaby's.
Oh. Well, you should be still at headquarters talking to Lieutenant Biddle. Hey, are you all right?
So far, has Barnaby gone over the reports on Marco's murder?
Yes. I don't know if there'll be much help, except that the bullet came from a .22 caliber pistol, and the powder burns established that he was shot at close range.
Did Marco have a gun?
Yes, but it was found in his belt, unfired. Looks like Marco either knew the killer, or he didn't get a chance to pull it.
Betty, do me a favor. Run a make on a guy named Max Tate. And I need it, you know, yesterday.
Max Tate, right. Anything else?
Yeah, you could pray a little.
JR, is there anything you want me to tell Barnaby?
Tell Barnaby that I got loose, that I'm running out of time, and the war could pop any minute.
JR.
Don't worry. I'll talk to you later, okay? Yeah. Goodbye.
All right.
Nice of you to leave soldiers' wheels where we could spot them.
Well, fellas, you win some and you lose some.
What are you doing here?
I was looking for a new car. You know, his crate isn't exactly in tip-top shape.
Stoners, Vic. He came here to call the cops. Oh, that's okay, because they got a surprise waiting for him. Dead one.
You listen to me. You blow me up here, and Barnaby Jones will have the whole police force right down on you guys.
He's right, Vic. Duke said if we have to waste him, we do it on the battlefield.
What do you mean, if? What's he gonna do by noon tomorrow? We snuff him now.
Noon tomorrow? What do you mean, the war's set?
What are you worried about? You ain't gonna be around to see it.
Cool it, Vic. You're not number one yet.
Yeah, maybe not yet. But Duke's losing his guts. And most of the guys ain't digging it. Okay. You're off the hook tonight, Turkey. But tomorrow, you're dead meat.
Duke, I found out something last night. There's a long shot chance I can still find the killer if he cut me loose.
Oh, sure. And you go right to the cops, right?
Oh, come on. I could have done that last night, but I didn't. Besides, I don't even know where your war's gonna be.
You think I'm stupid, JR?
No, I don't think you're stupid. Look, I'll make a deal with you. You cut me loose, I'll be back here by 11:30. Now, if I get lucky, I'll have all the proof we need. Either way, I'll come back.
That's less than 2 hours.
I told you it's a long shot.
How do I know you'll be back?
Only my word.
You go to the cops, I'm dead. My own troops will take me down.
Come on, I promise it's worth the gamble. I'm gonna need a car.
Take soldiers. It won't be the first time. Go ahead.
Barnaby Jones Investigations, may I help you?
Betty, JR, if Barnaby is there, put him on, okay?
Right. It's JR.
Stay on the line. Jedediah, where are you?
Barnaby, there's no time. The gang war is at 12 noon.
Where?
I don't know.
Why don't you come over to Lieutenant Biddle's office? Maybe we can help him track it down.
Barnaby, I can't. Duke put his back to the wall, letting me go, and I'm chasing a good lead.
Well, how can we help?
Did you get anything on Max Tate?
I have his rap sheet right here. He's an ex-convict, been back on the street almost a year after serving a minimum sentence for assault.
Any family, Betty?
Not locally, but there's a person listed to be notified in case of an emergency. Sherry Gordon.
Hold it, wait a minute. Sherry Gordon. Is there an address there?
Yeah, 1441 Bower Street.
Jedediah, do you know where Duke is now?
Yeah, I left him at a condemned building on the corner of 8th and Center. He's gonna be there till 11:30, but I gave him my promise, Barnaby, that I wouldn't tip the police.
I don't think they could get anything out of him, even if you did. Did you make any promises about me?
No.
I think you have the makings of a good lawyer. There are times when you are downright sneaky.
Yeah, but always in a good cause. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Betty, call Lieutenant Biddle. Tell him the Hawks and the Scorpions are going to war at noon, but we don't know where. Maybe his men can squeeze a little harder and find out.
Where will you be?
I'll be keeping a close eye on Duke. I don't think they'll start the war without him.
Hi. Decided to accept your invitation.
You should have phoned first.
Well, this way it'll be more fun.
Hey, I'm over here.
Sherry, you want me to tell you where you're really at? You're up to your eyeballs in Marco's murder.
What do you want, some kind of a trip? Look, I don't know where you're coming from.
Right here. You used to be Max's old lady, huh?
He's past history.
Not to you. He served his time, and then he dumped you for Tina Wilson, and you couldn't handle it.
Who's, Tina Wilson?
Oh, come on. She's the girl you tried to shoot last night, and I'm betting that the proof is still in this apartment.
You know, you have no right going through my stuff. You're not a cop.
You're right. I'm not a cop. I'm just a guy who doesn't want to see any more people get killed.
So hot about that leather jacket?
It's the same color I saw on the person who tried to shoot Tina last night.
It's Max's. You can see it's a guy's jacket.
Yeah, I can see it's a guy's jacket. What's it doing in your closet?
He left it here last night.
All right, why don't you get some clothes on and we'll ask him.
He tried to force me.
This tears it, man.
All right, just hear me out first.
He's working for the Scorpions. Max, kill him.
Sherry killed Marco. She tried to kill Tina because she was jealous. The whole war is a mistake.
Why would she snuff Marco?
She didn't mean to. She was waiting there for Tina, and Marco walked in on her.
Marco wouldn't let a chick take him.
Look, the coroner's report said that he was shot at close range. The police report said he didn't even have a chance to get his gun out, which would mean that he was trying to take Sherry's away, and it went off by accident.
I don't buy it. I still say one of the Scorpions got Marco.
Max, listen to me. It doesn't make sense. Look, the killer made a lot of noise breaking glass to get in. Now, you know that any one of the gang would have used a plastic credit card to jimmy the door open. Besides, the whole MO was wrong for a gang hit. It had to be a personal motive. Now, look, I think this jacket was worn by whoever tried to shoot Tina. Now, Sherry says that you left it here last night.
You said you lost this when I was in the slammer. Why couldn't you let go? I told you I was sorry.
You promised to marry me.
When I got out, it just didn't click anymore.
We were fine until Tina came along. It's all her fault. I never meant to shoot Marco.
I think the gun is probably still in this apartment somewhere. All right, now, unless that's been reloaded, there's one round in there missing from last night. Huh? It's 11:45. I better call the cops, see if they can stop that war.
No, nobody calls the cops.
All right, but it's up to us, okay?
Okay, we don't have much time. We better hurry.
That seems to be the name of the game around here. Come on, Sherry. Come on.
I want to take it before the magician shows up.
Duke isn't here yet either.
Who needs him, man?
Lieutenant Biddle, please.
Let's hit him before the magician gets here. That way we get the edge.
Don't sweat it, Vic. I want to have a final head-to-head with Max first.
Yeah.
Lieutenant, I hope your men are coming code 3. I'm going to be awfully lonely down there. Yeah. Young lady. Don't go down there.
Don't try and stop me, please.
All right, if you stay with me.
So where's this JR punk?
I told you, he's my problem, man.
You let him split. You hear that? Duke let this private detective split. You know what that means? He's gonna rat on everyone in his gang. I say, let's take the hooks now and cut out of here before this place is crawling with cops. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Come on, go.
All right, everybody, hold it! The war is off.
Yeah?
The Hawks didn't kill Marco Wilson. They didn't try to blow up any Scorpion chick.
Well, then who did?
It was a girl. She's gonna be turned over to the police.
Hey, they're lying. Max and Duke are running a number with this turkey.
No, it's the truth. I don't want anyone else getting hurt.
I think a public handshake would probably break this thing up. Look, why don't you just consider it my fee, okay?
There's a war on here. What happened?
Better talk to my associate, Jedediah Jones. I think he has a lady for you to take into custody. That was a pretty close call, gentlemen.
Too close for me, man. I'm hanging it up with the Hawks. The city. Oh, my uncle's got a farm up in Fresno. Told me I could come up there and help him out after I graduated from the Slammer. Now I'm gonna take him up on it.
I think I'm gonna like it up in the country.
How about you, Duke? You bet up too?
All the way, Barnaby. But my relatives don't want me any closer than the telephone. Anyway, I figure the Scorpions are my real family. And they made a move in the right direction now. I think I'll just stick around and help them keep their heads straight.
That's a break for them.
Some of them deserve a lot more than I can do. Like Doc Evans. The kid ought to be in college. He'll make a hell of a doctor someday. Ask JR about him.
I will.
And I might need your help again if I ever get in a bind. If you're tied up, maybe you could spare JR. Because he's practically a member of the gang now.
Duke, you can count on it. Except for one thing. I'm a real coward when it comes to tattoos.
The night air in the heart of the city was thick with a quiet nostalgia as the neon lights of the modest French restaurant cast a soft, warm glow onto the pavement. Inside, the ambient hum of polite conversation and the gentle clinking of silverware created an atmosphere of comfort, a welcome contrast to the bustling world outside. Neil Giroux sat across from his sister, Peggy, watching her with a mixture of pride and quiet affection. It was a Quinn Martin production, starring Buddy Epson, also starring Lee Meriwether, Mark Shera, with guest stars Lee Purcell, Frank Marth, Robert Klein, Augusta Summerlin, and special guest star Edward Powell. Tonight's episode was titled The Damocles Gun, and the air seemed to carry the weight of that invisible threat, though the siblings were currently wrapped in the warmth of homecoming. Neil leaned back, a gentle smile touching his lips as he looked around the cozy dining room. "If you didn't mind my picking this place, Peg," he said, his voice carrying a soft, apologetic undertone, "it's not the original that you're used to in Paris, the real thing and all that stuff, but Mom and Pop did like to take us here when we were kids." Peggy looked at him, her eyes shining with genuine emotion, touched by the thoughtfulness of the gesture. "C'est très touchant," she replied softly, her voice carrying the elegant cadence of her years abroad. "It's parfait, Neil." "Oh, no," she corrected him with a smirk. "You did flunk French in high school." Neil feigned a look of wounded pride, though his smile remained wide. "Oh, and you never forget anything, do you?" he muttered. "Yeah, nothing," Peggy retorted playfully, before her expression softened into one of deep appreciation. "I think it's perfect, Neil. Brings back so many memories. Nice ones." Neil nodded, his gaze drifting for a moment as he thought of the past, of the family they had lost, and how quickly time had flown. "Yeah," he said quietly. "I wish the folks were alive now to see you all grown up, a budding artist and one dishy-looking chick, too." Peggy smiled warmly, reaching across the table. "Oh, thank you," she said, her heart swelling with gratitude for her brother's constant support. "You always were my #1 fan." Neil smiled back, his tone turning sincere and welcoming. "Well, Peg, it's really nice to have you home." Peggy squeezed his hand gently. "It's really nice to be here," she replied. Then, shifting the topic to her future plans, she added, "First thing tomorrow, I'm going to look for my own apartment." Neil frowned slightly, clearly wanting her to stay closer for longer.
"Why?"
he asked, gesturing vaguely as if to encompass his own living space. "There's plenty of room in my place. Stay as long as you like." Peggy laughed softly, a knowing look on her face. "Well, I just don't want to cramp your style, big brother," she teased. Neil raised an eyebrow, matching her playful tone. "You're sure it's not your style we're cramping?" he countered. Peggy grinned, refusing to give ground. "Oh," she said with a twinkle in her eye. "You didn't expect me to spend all my time in Paris just studying, did you?" Neil chuckled, shaking his head. "I certainly did," he replied. He then looked around the restaurant, noticing that the remaining patrons were beginning to filter out and the staff was quietly preparing to close up for the night. "You know, it looks like we're keeping everybody up here," he observed. "Are you ready?" Peggy nodded, gathered her purse, and stood up. "Good," Neil said, rising from his chair. As they began to walk toward the exit, Peggy looked up at his face, studying the new addition to his features that she was still getting used to. "Neil, I promised myself I wasn't going to ask you this," she began, a small laugh escaping her lips. Neil prompted, waiting for the inevitable question. "But I just can't resist," she confessed. "When did you decide you'd wear that beard?" Neil rubbed his chin thoughtfully, smiling. "A couple of weeks ago," he answered. Peggy tilted her head, inspecting it critically but affectionately. "It looks very distinguished, don't you think?" she remarked. Before Neil could answer, the genial owner of the restaurant approached them with a warm, hospitable smile. "Oh, Monsieur Giroux," the owner said smoothly. "I hope everything was all right." Neil nodded appreciatively. "Oh, it was perfect as usual, monsieur." "Thank you," he replied. The owner then turned his attention to Peggy, bowing his head slightly in a courteous greeting.
"Et vous, Mademoiselle Giroux?"
he asked. Peggy smiled brilliantly, glad for the chance to use her French. "Ah, oui, monsieur," she responded enthusiastically.
"Votre cuisine est toujours excellente."
Neil raised his hands in mock confusion, interrupting the flow of French with a laugh. "Oh, wait a minute, he said. "I'll go get the car, and I'll see you up front." "Okay." Peggy watched him walk away toward the exit, turning back to the owner.
"Good night," she said.
The owner smiled warmly. "Good night," he replied, before adding a few polite words as Neil stepped outside into the cool night air.
"Comment ça va, monsieur?" "Très bien, merci. J'espère que votre séjour en France a été agréable."
Outside, the street was relatively quiet, the city sounds muffled by the late hour. Neil walked toward where the car was parked, his footsteps echoing faintly against the concrete. Suddenly, the silence of the night was shattered by the screech of tires, the roaring acceleration of an engine, and a sickening, heavy thud that resonated through the empty street. Inside the restaurant, the peaceful atmosphere vanished in an instant. Peggy froze as the terrifying sounds reached her ears. Before she could even process what had happened, a frantic voice cut through the air from just outside the doorway, filled with panic and desperation. "Please, is anybody here? Can someone help us? Don't move. Don't move, Abby." Peggy rushed toward the door, her heart pounding wildly against her ribs. She burst through the entrance and into the street, her eyes widening in horror as she saw a figure lying motionless on the asphalt.
Michel! Michel!
She cried out, her voice cracking with terror. Oh, Monsieur Giroux, what's wrong? The restaurant owner rushed out behind her, his face turning pale as he took in the grim scene. My brother's been hit by a car, Peggy gasped, her hands shaking as she knelt near the street, tears stinging her eyes.
Oh, no, wait.
Call an ambulance quickly. He's hurt very badly. Michel, seeing the gravity of the situation, immediately sprang into action. Yes, right away, he said, turning back toward the building. Of course, I'm sorry. Inside, he hurried toward the counter, shouting to his staff. Andre, let me have the phone. Hurry. The phone, please. I've got to call the hospital.
Thank you.
My brother's been hurt. Do you have a blanket? He looked around frantically, but the staff was caught off guard. Blanket, no, Andre replied nervously. But how about some brandy? That'll keep him warm. Michel ignored the suggestion, gripping the telephone receiver as the line finally connected. Yes, he spoke rapidly into the mouthpiece. Hello? Yes, there has been an accident at 521 San Remo Street. A man was hit by a car. In front of Michel's restaurant. Please hurry.
Thank you. Coming.
Yes, right away. Peggy stood frozen on the sidewalk, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she waited for the emergency services to arrive. But when she forced herself to look back down at the dark asphalt where her brother had been lying just moments before, her heart stopped. The street was empty. The space where Neil had been bleeding and broken was completely vacant. Michel ran back outside, breathing heavily, expecting to see the injured man, but he stopped in his tracks, looking around in utter bewilderment. Where is he? Michel asked, his voice full of confusion. He's gone, Peggy whispered, her voice trembling as she shook her head, unable to comprehend what her own eyes were telling her. I don't understand. He was just crossing the street to get the car, and he was hit. Michel looked at her carefully, wondering if the shock was playing tricks on her mind. Maybe you just... No, Peggy interrupted fiercely, her tears overflowing. I saw him run down. He was lying there bleeding. Michel, I saw it with my own eyes. Later, the flashing red and blue lights of a police cruiser illuminated the storefront, casting long, eerie shadows across San Remo Street. Barnaby Jones stood on the pavement, his experienced eyes scanning the ground as a local police officer shook his head in frustration. Sorry, the officer said, looking at the private investigator. Are you sure this is the spot? Yes, Peggy insisted, stepping forward, her face pale and exhausted. I remember. He was right there. Barnaby knelt down, examining the asphalt under the glare of the streetlights, running his fingers across the cold surface. No trace of blood, he noted quietly. The police officer nodded in agreement. The police didn't find any blood either, Mr. Jones, he stated plainly. But he was bleeding, Peggy protested, her voice growing desperate as she felt the walls of reality closing in on her. Well, Barnaby said, rising to his feet and brushing off his trousers, I guess we covered all the bases. Peggy looked at him, her eyes pleading for help when no one else would believe her. You've got to help me find my brother, she begged. I've got nowhere else to turn. The next morning, the sun rose over the city, but the bright light brought no clarity to the mystery. In the office of Jones Investigative Services, Barnaby sat behind his desk, reviewing the notes from the previous night. Peggy sat opposite him, her hands tightly clasped in her lap, while Jedediah Jones, known to everyone as JR, stood nearby, leaning against a filing cabinet. Peggy, Barnaby began gently, his voice calm and grounded. The police didn't report any accident. Neither did the hospital treat anyone who resembled a description of your brother. JR frowned, trying to piece together a logical scenario out of the baffling facts. Wannabe, he said, addressing Barnaby by his familiar moniker, what if? Well, supposing he had a head injury and he got up from the accident and just wandered away without really knowing what he was doing.
Amnesia?
It's possible, isn't it? Peggy shook her head vigorously, rejecting the idea instantly. No, she said, her voice strained.
He was hurt too badly.
He couldn't have gotten up. JR looked toward the door as it opened, and Michel, the restaurant owner, stepped into the office, looking uncomfortable but resolute. "Wannabe," JR said, introducing the newcomer. "This is Michel. He's the owner of the restaurant, Wannabe Jones." Michel nodded politely. "How do you do?"
he said.
Barnaby greeted him with a steady gaze. "You know Ms. Giroux?" Michel looked at Peggy sympathetically. "It's Betty Jones," JR noted, mentioning their sharp-witted associate who was currently out gathering background data. Peggy turned to the restaurateur eagerly. "Michel, tell them what happened," she urged. Michel sighed, placing his hands in his pockets as he addressed the investigator. "Mr. Jones, as I just told your associate, the only thing I know about an accident is what Ms. Giroux told me." Barnaby leaned forward. "And you didn't see it?" "Nothing," Michel confirmed. "I came outside, and the street was deserted. If you want my opinion." Peggy's defensive walls went up immediately. "I didn't imagine it," she snapped, her voice thick with hurt. "It happened." Michel raised his hands defensively, trying to be as gentle as possible. "I'm sorry, Ms. Giroux, but you and your brother had quite a bit of wine."
"And well."
"I only had one glass," Peggy shot back, her jaw set. "I am telling you he really was hit, and he was really lying right there."
"I only know what I saw."
"Thank you, Michel," Barnaby said, cutting through the rising tension and dismissing the witness with a polite nod. Peggy looked at the two detectives, her frustration turning into a profound sense of isolation. "Me either, do you?" she asked, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I can see it in your face, as you think I'm crazy." "Peggy, that's not true," Barnaby assured her, his tone warm and entirely devoid of judgment. Just then, the office door opened fully and Betty Jones walked in, holding a small plastic evidence bag. "Wannabe, look at this," she said, holding it up. Barnaby adjusted his glasses. "What did you find?" "It's a tissue," Betty explained, handing it over. "It looks like there's blood on it." Peggy gasped softly, recognizing the item instantly. "That's right," she said eagerly, leaning over the desk. "I used a tissue to wipe some blood from Neil's face. This could be the one." Barnaby examined the stained tissue thoughtfully before looking back up at Peggy. "Peggy, did you say that your brother was a broker in heavy machinery?" he asked. "Yes," Peggy replied without hesitation. "He has his own company, Westland Engineering Corporation." Barnaby turned to his daughter-in-law. "Betty, would you check out that company, please?" "All right," Betty agreed smoothly. "Meet you back at the office?" "Yes," Barnaby said. "We'll call you as soon as we take Peggy home." "All right," Betty replied, turning on her heel to head back to the records department. A short while later, Barnaby and JR accompanied Peggy back to Neil's apartment, hoping to find some clue that the police had overlooked. JR was carefully shifting through the drawers in the living room, while Barnaby stood near the center of the room, looking around with a practiced eye. "Can you believe it? Not a clue?" JR muttered, shaking his head. "What about in here?" Barnaby asked, gesturing toward a side room. "I've looked in there already," JR replied.
"Check the other bedroom."
Peggy walked out of the hallway, her expression a mix of confusion and fear. "I'm telling you, if it's anywhere in this apartment, it's invisible," she said, her voice trembling. "It's got to be somewhere, Ray," JR said, using a casual shorthand as he continued his search. "We've got to find it." Barnaby noted the lack of personal touches in the living space. "He hasn't lived here for almost 5 years," Barnaby observed dryly. "Heavy machinery as well. Mind if we have a look around?" "No, whatever you want, Mr. Jones," Peggy said, gesturing to the space. "Perhaps you'd like to start with his desk?" "Peggy," Barnaby said, turning to her, "you said you had a picture of Neil that we could borrow?" "Yes," she remembered. "It's in the bedroom. I'll get it for you." As Peggy walked into the bedroom, JR noticed an easel standing in the corner covered by a cloth. He pulled the cloth back, revealing a beautiful, vibrant painting of a Parisian street scene. "Francis?" JR called out, admiring the brushwork. "Yes," Peggy called back from the other room as she searched for the photograph. "That's what I was doing in Paris. Studying art." JR shook his head in genuine appreciation. "It's terrific," he said. "Thank you," Peggy said, walking back into the living room and handing Barnaby a small, glossy photograph. "This is the most recent one I had. It was taken about a year ago." Barnaby looked closely at the image of the clean-shaven man in the photo. "Oh, he has a beard now," Barnaby remarked. His curtain didn't knock that off. Suddenly, JR stopped by the window, noticing something amiss with the latch. "Mr. Jones, that window wasn't open either," he reported, pointing to the slight gap in the frame. Barnaby walked over, his eyes narrowing. "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure," Peggy said, her voice dropping as a cold dread washed over her. "I was in here, and I remember locking it before I left today. Someone's been here. I am sure of it." Barnaby knelt down near the desk, noticing a subtle misalignment in the drawers and a small scratch near the lock. "Why don't we look at this?" he suggested. "Yes, somebody's been in here, all right." JR checked the nearby closet, noting the disrupted hangers and shifted boxes. "Someone's been through this closet. Everything's just a little out of place." Barnaby stood up, turning to JR. "Check all the doors and windows," he instructed. Then, looking back at Peggy, he asked, "Any idea what he might have been after?" "No," Peggy said, her head spinning. "Your brother worried about anything?" "No, I told you he seemed fine, just like always." Barnaby studied the top of the desk, noticing a framed photograph that had been pushed toward the back. "Was Neil going with anyone?" "No," Peggy said, frowning. "He never said anything, but there is a picture of a girl that he keeps around. Here." She handed the frame to Barnaby. The inscription on the bottom corner of the photo was written in an elegant, looping script. "To Neil, my love always. January." Barnaby read it aloud. "Have you any idea who this Jan is?" "No," Peggy admitted. JR looked over Barnaby's shoulder at the photograph, studying the background. "Obviously in show business," he observed. "She's leaning on a camera. Those are as dense as legs if I've ever seen them one." Barnaby smiled faintly at his younger associate's quick observation. "A resident leg expert," Barnaby joked lightly. "Nobody better qualified." Just then, the telephone on the desk rang loudly, cutting through the tense silence of the apartment. JR stepped forward and picked up the receiver. "Hello?"
he said.
"Yes, hold on, please." He turned to the older investigator, handing over the phone. "It's for you, Mr. Jones."
"Betty."
Barnaby took the receiver. "Betty, I'm glad you called," he said. "I want you to find a girl for me. Name is January. She's a brunette, long hair, dances legs. Very pretty, very sultry looking." On the other end of the line, Betty let out a soft laugh. "Barnaby, this isn't a personal request, is it?"
she teased.
Barnaby smiled, keeping his tone professional. "I think you'll find her in television or motion pictures or nightclubs. See if you can locate her." "All right, I'll do what I can," Betty promised. "Oh, now wait. Let me hear what I came up with."
"Thank you, Betty."
"It's very interesting." Barnaby hung up the phone, his expression turning grave and deeply thoughtful. "What is it?" Peggy asked, sensing the sudden shift in the room's energy. Barnaby sighed, looking at her with a gentle, yet direct honesty. "The company Neil said he worked with, Westland Engineering Corporation, doesn't exist." Peggy stared at him, her mind refusing to accept the words. "I don't understand," she stammered. "It never did exist," Barnaby stated plainly. "Which means that your brother was deliberately lying about what he was doing, but the question is why?" Later that afternoon, Barnaby Jones walked into the backstage rehearsal hall of a local television studio. The sound of rhythmic music and tapping feet echoed through the large, open space. A striking brunette with long hair was stretching near a camera crane, her athletic grace instantly recognizable from the photograph in Neil's apartment. Barnaby approached her calmly, tipping his hat. "Jan Redbone?" he asked. The dancer turned, wiping a bead of sweat from her forehead, a bright, expectant smile on her face. You're the man from Dance Today," she said happily. "My agent told me you'd be coming by for the interview." Barnaby offered an apologetic smile. "I hate to disappoint you, but I'm not from Dance Today," he said gently. "You're not?" she asked, her smile fading into confusion. "My name is Barnaby Jones," he introduced himself. "I'm a private investigator. I'd like to ask you a few questions." Jan looked at him warily, her posture tightening. About what? Do you know a man named Neil Jerome? Barnaby asked, using one of the aliases they had uncovered. Jan's eyes softened slightly, a touch of affection showing through her caution. Yes, she replied. When's the last time you saw him? About a week ago, she answered, before her brow furrowed with concern.
Why?
He disappeared last night, Barnaby said simply. Disappeared? Jan repeated, the color draining from her face. Yes, I'm afraid so, Barnaby said. What do you know about him? Jan sighed, looking down at the floor, her hands resting on her hips. I'm not sure, she admitted honestly. Sometimes I think I know everything, and other times he's a total stranger. I know he's very successful. Something to do with heavy machinery. He likes to travel a lot. Do you know where he travels to? Barnaby pressed. No, Jan said, shaking her head. Whenever I would ask, he managed to change the subject. I used to kid him about being a secret agent. What else? Barnaby asked. Jan looked up, her eyes filled with a vulnerable truth. I know I love him, she said softly, and I think he loves me in his way. But I also know that he's seeing someone else. Maybe that's where he's disappeared. With her. Barnaby nodded understandingly. Why don't you tell me about it? It could be so very helpful, he encouraged her. Your sister's awfully worried about him. Jan hesitated for a moment, then relented. Well, about 6 weeks ago, he broke a date with me at the last minute, she explained. He said it was business. I didn't believe him. So I waited outside of his place, and then followed him to an apartment on Laura Vista. Not exactly an office building. Did you get a look at the girl? Barnaby asked. No, Jan said, a touch of regret in her voice. I suddenly got an attack of pride. So I went home, packed, left the next morning to do a television show in New York. I was gone about 2 weeks. What was that address? Barnaby asked, pulling out a small notebook. Jan looked at him, her voice trembling slightly. Mr. Jones, this isn't very easy for me. Barnaby offered a warm, empathetic nod. I'm sure it isn't. I can appreciate that, he said supportively. But it would help so very much if you could give me that address. Jan took a deep breath. 315 South, Laura Vista, apartment 7, she said. Barnaby closed his notebook and tipped his hat once more. Thank you very much, he said. Good luck on the interview. Back at Neil's apartment, JR was working diligently on a tricky lock on an old wooden chest in the corner, using a small set of tools. Peggy sat on the sofa, watching him with an anxious expression. JR let out a soft grunt as a tool slipped. Well, that's one lock you won't be able to open with a plastic credit card, he joked, trying to lighten the heavy mood in the room. Peggy managed a small, grateful smile. Thanks, JR. That's really nice of you, she said softly. JR set his tools down and turned to face her, his demeanor warm and encouraging. Well, you're easy to be nice to, he said with a friendly grin. But listen, I got an idea. It's been a long day, and you're probably hungry, so why don't I run out and pick something up? What do you like? Italian? Chinese? Peggy shook her head, her stomach turning at the thought of food. Couldn't, she said quietly. I'm too worried about Neil. JR walked over, sitting on the edge of the coffee table near her. Oh, come on, he coaxed gently. Hey, it's gonna work out. You'll see. Look, as soon as we straighten this out, you and I are gonna celebrate. Because I know this terrific place at the beach, with candlelight, lobster, white wine. How does that sound? Peggy's smile was genuine this time, touched by his kindness. Sounds great, she admitted. I'll take your rain check, okay? Yeah, JR smiled. Okay. Suddenly, a firm, familiar knock sounded at the front door. Peggy stood up quickly, a surge of hope rising in her chest. She hurried to the door and pulled it open, but instead of Neil, a tall, well-dressed man with a warm smile stood in the hallway. Oh, excuse me, the man said, looking slightly surprised to see her. Doesn't Neil Jerome live here anymore? Peggy blinked, staring at his face as memories from her childhood began to click into place. Yes, I'm his sister Peggy, she said. The man's eyes widened with delight. Peggy? He exclaimed. Jim Rhodes. You don't remember me. Peggy's face lit up with immediate recognition and relief. Jim Rhodes.
Jim.
She cried, stepping forward to embrace him.
Come in. Come in.
Jim stepped into the apartment, laughing heartily. I'm sorry, Peggy said, wiping a sudden tear of joy from her eye. It's just been such a long time. Jim looked her up and down, shook his head in amazement. It certainly has, he agreed warmly. The last time I saw you, you were about that high. You had freckles, skin knees, and braces. Peggy laughed, blushing slightly. Well, in the bright light, you can still see the freckles, she joked. I can't get over it. Didn't Neil tell me you were living in Paris? Yes, I was, Peggy said. I just got back last week. Oh, I'm sorry, she added, turning to introduce JR, who had stood up from his work. Jim, this is JR Jones. JR stepped forward, offering his hand. Hi, Jim, he said, his investigative instincts quietly turning on. Peggy smiled. This is Jim Rhodes, an old friend of Neil's. Nice to meet you, Jim said, shaking JR's hand firmly. He then turned back to Peggy, looking around the room. Now, where is that tiger? I phoned him I was going to be in town. Peggy's face fell instantly, the heavy reality crashing back over her. He's not here, she said in a hollow voice. Jim's brow furrowed with immediate concern. Well, where is he? Last night, he was in an accident, Peggy explained, her voice cracking.
Hit and run.
I went to get help when I came back. He was gone. No one's seen him since. Jim stared at her, utterly shocked. I don't understand, he stammered. You mean he just disappeared? Yes, Peggy said, nodding tearfully. I've hired JR to help find him. Jim turned his gaze to JR, his expression serious. Are you with the detective agency? Yeah, JR replied smoothly, watching Jim's reactions closely. When was the last time you saw Neil? Oh, it's been over a year, Jim answered without hesitation. I've been out of the country also. I work for an oil company in Tehran. JR raised an eyebrow, stepping back toward the desk as the phone began to ring again. Excuse me, JR said, picking up the receiver.
Tehran. Sounds.
He paused as he spoke into the phone. Hello? He looked back at Jim. Sounds interesting. Yes, it is, Jim replied politely. JR spoke into the mouthpiece again. Hold on, please. He turned to Peggy and Jim. JR, it's Mr. Jones, he announced, signaling that Barnaby was on the line. Thank you, Peggy said. Jim smiled reassuringly at her.
So?
JR spoke into the phone. Yeah, Barbie. Everything all right over there? On the other side of town, Barnaby stood in a public phone booth near Laura Vista, his voice steady. Fine, he replied. What did you find out? JR kept his voice low, so as not to alarm Peggy. I found out the address of another girl Neil was seeing, Barnaby shared. I'm on my way over there now. JR nodded to himself. Well, listen, maybe I'll join you.
Peggy will be okay.
She's with a friend of Neil's. Barnaby gave him the coordinates. 315 South Laura Vista. I'll see you out front. Okay, I'm on my way, JR said, hanging up the phone. He turned to Peggy, giving her a reassuring pat on the shoulder. Any news? Peggy asked anxiously. Not yet, JR said honestly. Listen, I'll call you back. He turned to Jim, offering a polite nod. Nice meeting you. Same here, Jim replied warmly. As JR left the apartment, closing the door behind him, Jim turned back to Peggy, his expression filled with a deep, comforting sympathy. Hey, come on, Peg, he said softly, stepping closer. I'm sure there must be some simple explanation. Meanwhile, in a dimly lit, heavily secured room located in a secluded part of the city, a completely different scene was unfolding. Neil Giroux lay strapped to a stark, clinical bed, his face pale and covered in a cold sweat, his breathing ragged. A sophisticated medical monitor beeped rhythmically in the background. Standing over him was a man with a cold, calculating demeanor, Paul Buchanan, accompanied by a heavy-set associate named Ray and a medical doctor holding a syringe. Buchanan leaned down close to Neil's face, his voice a low, threatening hiss. Where is it, Neil? He demanded, his eyes boring into the semi-conscious man. Now, what have you done with it? Where did you put it, Neil? Where, Neil? Neil stirred weakly, his lips moving soundlessly at first before a faint, fractured word slipped out. Sounds like he's saying Ivan, Ray muttered, leaning closer to listen. Buchanan frowned, his patience wearing thin. Who is Ivan Neil? He snarled. Neil, where is it? Where did you put it? The doctor checked Neil's pulse, looking up at Buchanan with concern. Give him another shot, Buchanan ordered coldly. He needs his rest, Mr. Buchanan, the doctor protested gently, gesturing to the powerful sedative. And I need information. Buchanan snapped back, his voice cutting like a knife. Now you bring him, too. Back on Laura Vista, Barnaby and JR pulled up in front of a slightly run-down, multi-story apartment building. The neighborhood was quiet, almost eerie under the fading afternoon sun. JR looked up at the faded exterior of the building, a look of skepticism on his face. What, are you sure this is the right address? He asked as they walked toward the entrance. This isn't exactly what I pictured for Neil. Barnaby looked at the directory near the front door, pointing to a handwritten label on mailbox number 7. Candy Mason, he read aloud. Oh, JR muttered with a faint grin. And here I thought it was going to be just another run-of-the-mill evening. They walked up the stairs and knocked firmly on the door of apartment number 7. After a brief moment, the door swung open to reveal a vibrant young woman wearing a colorful outfit, her hair styled in a lively fashion. She looked at the two men with an amused, confident expression. Miss Mason, Barnaby began politely, lifting his hat. My friends call me Candy, she interrupted with a playful wink. Barnaby cleared his throat slightly, maintaining his professional focus. I wonder if we could talk to you for a few minutes inside, he requested. Candy leaned against the doorframe, shaking her head with a mischievous smile. She purred. Outside's for talk, inside's for action. JR let out a short, amused chuckle, while Barnaby remained entirely unfazed. I'm afraid you misunderstood, Barnaby said calmly. My name is Barnaby Jones. I'm a private investigator. This is my associate, Jedediah Jones. Candy's eyes widened with a flash of amusement. I always wanted to meet the Jones boys, she giggled, crossing her arms. What do you want? Barnaby pulled out the photograph of Neil. You know a guy named Neil Giroux? He asked, showing her the picture. Candy studied the image for a moment, her expression shifting to one of mild indifference. It's possible, but I'm not very good on names, she replied honestly. Well, he was seen entering your apartment, JR noted, leaning forward slightly. When? Candy asked, her curiosity piqued. About 6 weeks ago, Barnaby answered. Candy shook her head, gesturing around the doorway. This apartment here? Number 7? Well, then he wasn't coming to see me because I've only been here a couple of weeks. I used to live upstairs, but after the murder, they couldn't give this place away. So I got it for a steal. Twice the space, half the rent. Barnaby's investigative instincts instantly locked onto her words. What murder was that? He asked sharply. Candy looked at him in surprise. You didn't read about it? She asked. There was a man who was shot dead right there in that living room. JR's eyes narrowed as a recollection clicked in his mind. Oh, yeah, he said, turning to Barnaby. I remember reading something about that. A guy named Smith. Harry Smith. Yeah, I was doing my midterm on homicide when I noticed the item. About 6 weeks ago. Candy nodded vigorously in agreement. You know, you would be surprised how many Smiths and Joneses there are in this trap, she remarked with a sigh, before realizing who she was talking to. Oh, I'm sorry, she added quickly with an apologetic grin. Nothing personal. Barnaby smiled faintly at the disclaimer. Was the killer ever caught? He asked. He's still on the loose, even though we did give the police a description, Candy revealed. You saw him? JR asked. Some of us did when he was running down the hall, Candy said, her tone becoming more serious. What did he look like? Barnaby pressed, holding the photograph of Neil closer to her. Well, he was tall, Candy recalled, squinting as she thought back to that night. I'd say he was over 6 feet. He had a good build like an athlete, and he had dark brown hair. Yeah, he was kind of cute. She stopped, her eyes dropping to the photograph in Barnaby's hand. Her breath caught in her throat. He looked like that? She whispered, pointing a manicured finger at Neil's face. You know something? He sure did. But I told the police he was moving so fast, you could see how dark these corridors are. I wouldn't want to swear to it in court, but oh boy, does that look like the killer to me. Back at Neil's apartment, the evening had settled in completely. Jim Rhodes sat on the edge of the armchair, watching Peggy as she paced the room restlessly. He offered her a warm, supportive smile, trying to comfort her through the agonizing wait. If all my dinner dates ain't as little as you, I'd be a rich man by now. He joked softly, trying to coax a smile out of her. Peggy stopped pacing, looking at him with an exhausted, appreciative expression. Jim, I warned you I wouldn't be very good company, she said quietly. Jim stood up, walking over to her and placing a gentle, reassuring hand on her shoulder. Look, you've got to remember there is a logical explanation for everything, including what happened to Neil, he said with absolute conviction. So just hang in there, all right? Peggy took a deep, trembling breath. I'm trying, she whispered. I know you are, Jim said supportively. Look, I still say Neil is going to be all right. Peg, I have known him a long time. He can handle anything. Believe me, he can. Peggy looked up into his eyes, desperately wanting to believe him.
I sure hope so, she said.
Yeah, Jim agreed. Then, trying to give her a small task to distract her mind, he added, Look, why don't you get us some coffee, huh? Peggy nodded, feeling a bit better having something to do. Okay, she said. All right. As Peggy walked into the kitchen, the telephone on the desk rang. Jim stepped over and picked up the receiver immediately. Hello?
He said.
He listened for a split second, his entire demeanor changing from a warm friend to a cold, professional operative. Yes, he is, he said, his voice dropping to a low, guarded tone as Peggy walked back into the doorway for a second. Hold on, please. He looked up at her, putting on his friendly mask instantly. It's for you, he said, holding out the phone. Who knows you're here? Peggy wondered out loud, surprised. Oh, I left a number with a hotel, in case my office wanted to get in touch with me, Jim explained smoothly, gesturing to the phone. I hope you don't mind. It could be important. Of course not, Peggy said, walking into the kitchen to check on the water. Well, you can take it over there if you want, Jim called out, before lifting the receiver back to his ear as soon as she was out of sight. His voice became sharp and demanding. Yeah, thanks. Hello. Yes, did you get those contracts? What have you got? On the other end of the line, Ray was standing in the corridor of the secured facility, looking through a glass window at Neil's unconscious form. Nothing yet, Mr. Buchanan, Ray reported quietly. I'm not even sure she knows anything. How's it going on your end? Well, we've given him a drug. Buchanan's voice came through, filled with cold frustration. It seems like he's saying the word Ivanhoe. Does that mean anything to you? Jim's eyes narrowed as a sudden realization hit him. He looked toward the kitchen where Peggy was working. Yes, well, I'll look into that, Jim replied into the phone, keeping his voice entirely neutral as Peggy walked back into the living room. Coffee will be ready in a minute, she called out warmly. Fine, Jim replied to her with a quick smile, before speaking back into the receiver in a rapid, hushed whisper. We used to go to a restaurant by that name in San Francisco, but I can't see the connection. The only thing I can think of is the book. It's the book.
Just hold on a minute.
Jim hung up the phone quickly and stepped over to Neil's bookshelf, his eyes scanning the titles rapidly. He spotted a thick, leather-bound volume of Ivanhoe. He pulled it from the shelf, opened the cover, and began flipping through the pages. A small, metallic object slipped out from between the leaves and clattered onto the desk. I think I found it, Mr. Buchanan, Jim whispered triumphantly to himself, picking up the small, distinct key. It looks like a key to a safety deposit box. He grabbed his coat, his face turning cold and determined as he prepared to leave. Get it right over here, Buchanan's instructions echoed in his mind. Yeah, okay. I'll be right there. Peg, Jim called out toward the kitchen. Meg, everything okay? Something important's come up and I've got to go.
I'm sorry.
Peggy walked out of the kitchen, looking disappointed but understanding.
I'm sorry too, she said.
Jim offered an apologetic shrug. That's how it is with the oil business, he said smoothly. Never sleeps, never takes a vacation. Look, I'll call you tomorrow. Get some rest, huh? Okay, Peggy said, leaning against the counter. I'll let myself out, Jim said, walking quickly to the door and stepping out into the night, the stolen key tucked safely in his pocket. The next morning, Barnaby Jones and JR walked into the local police headquarters, heading straight for the desk of a seasoned detective lieutenant. The office was bustling with activity, typewriters clattering in the background. The lieutenant looked up from his paperwork, a weary but amused smile on his face, as he saw Barnaby approach. Good, Lieutenant. Barnaby greeted him warmly, tipping his hat. May we have a few minutes of your time? Did you find me anyway, Barnaby? The lieutenant asked with a chuckle, leaning back in his chair. It's my day off. Barnaby smiled, sitting on the corner of the desk. Well, I knew you needed the practice, he joked lightly. There was a murderer about 6 weeks ago, a fellow named Harry Smith. Yeah? The lieutenant prompted, his interest piqued. Well, can you tell us something about him? Barnaby asked. It's hard to tell, the lieutenant said, his expression turning serious. He was shot to death. It's not a very nice neighborhood. Well, I've been in worse, so we checked. His name isn't Harry Smith at all. It's Leo Patterson. We heard he was some kind of a big-time gambler or something. He looked at Barnaby, a knowing glint in his eye. You know, you're getting more like him every day. Let's go in here. He stood up, leading the two investigators into a quieter, private side office. What else did you hear? Barnaby asked as they walked. Well, he, seems to have overplayed his hand a little while back, the lieutenant explained, closing the door behind them. He ripped off some people in Chicago for about $200,000. They didn't like it. They let a contract on him. Any idea who took the contract? JR asked. No, just that he's one of the best in the business, the lieutenant revealed. The past 3 years alone, he's hunted down and killed 5 men. How do you know it's the same hitman? Barnaby inquired. Same MO, the lieutenant stated flatly, right down to packing his own bullets. But he's slipping, Barnaby. Because the last time there were witnesses? Barnaby guessed. Maybe they couldn't pick him out of a lineup, but it means he's getting careless, the lieutenant noted. And I don't think that endears him very much to the people he works for. Any idea who that might be? JR asked. Ever hear of a man named Paul Buchanan? Barnaby asked, his voice steady. The lieutenant's expression darkened at the name. Just the usual rumors, he said quietly. He was behind some, very important hits contracted for by, the mob. Some dig behind his classy real estate operation. Our intelligence people tell us that he runs an organization that makes Murder Incorporated seem like a Wednesday night sewing circle. No hard evidence, all right. Oh, but that couldn't change if we find the man who snuffed out Patterson, Barnaby observed. Before Buchanan decides that a careless professional murderer is a dead professional murderer, JR added. Something like that, yeah, the lieutenant agreed. He then looked at Barnaby curiously. What's your interest in this thing, anyway? Well, you know that accident case that I've been working on I told you about? Barnaby said. I think it's Italian. Oh, the lieutenant remembered. Well, I was going to call you on that anyway. We picked up a man who owns a car that matches the description we got from Peggy Giroux. The hit-and-run driver? JR asked. Yeah, we expect a confession any minute, the lieutenant said, waving a hand dismissively. Any connection to Buchanan? Barnaby pressed. No, the lieutenant assured him. It's just some damn fool who had too much to drink. Barnaby stood up, shaking the officer's hand. Thank you very much, Lieutenant. We'll be in touch. All right, the lieutenant replied as the two private eyes walked out. Meanwhile, back at the secluded facility, Neil Giroux was finally sitting up in a chair, his face pale but his eyes fully lucid. Ray stood nearby, holding a heavy coat, while Paul Buchanan paced the floor, a smug, satisfied smile on his face. Well, how's our patient today, huh? Buchanan asked mockingly, stepping closer. You look like $1 million. Neil glared at him, his jaw set in a tight line as Ray helped him stand up. Yeah, easy does it, huh? Ray muttered, supporting Neil's weight. Come on. In we go. Easy now. Go in there.
Attaboy.
Buchanan walked over to a safe in the corner of the room, pulling out a sleek, heavy handgun. You know, you can't be too careful, Neil, Buchanan said, turning the weapon over in his hands. I almost forgot about that gun. That's how much I trusted you to deep six it. Neil let out a cold, cynical laugh. Yeah, well, it's like you always said, Paul, Neil retorted, his voice raspy but firm. Trust is for the banks, isn't it? Buchanan smiled, a dark, dangerous glint in his eye. Tell me, Neil, he began conversationally. How long has it been since I went on my last hit with you? Huh. That big mouth in Detroit that I blew up. What was that, about 10, 11 years ago? Something like that, Neil muttered coldly. Buchanan nodded. And all the time, you kept the gun I used squirreled away, with my fingerprints on it. Oh, Neil. Now, what kind of friend are you, huh? Neil straightened his posture, refusing to be intimidated. Well, you knock it off, Neil snapped. I didn't lose that gun, because I needed life insurance. I figured someday you'd be putting a contract out on me. Buchanan chuckled, a sound entirely devoid of warmth. Well, now, what did you expect? You blew the Patterson hit. He's dead, isn't he? Neil defended himself. Sure. Buchanan conceded smoothly. But a couple of people saw you running away.
Now they nail you.
Now, where does that leave me? You knew I'd never talk, Neil insisted fiercely. In my heart, I know, Buchanan said with mock sympathy. But, Neil, there are other people to consider. Business is business. Oh, Neil. Why didn't you quit when you had the chance, huh? Why did you have to get so greedy? Huh? Neil looked at him with a bleak, honest finality. I guess I'm like you, Paul, he said quietly. I figured I'd go on forever. Back at the investigative office, Barnaby and JR were briefing Peggy on their latest discoveries. The atmosphere in the room was heavy with a shocking revelation. Peggy sat frozen in her chair, staring at Barnaby in absolute disbelief as the pieces of the puzzle began to form a terrifying picture. What about Paul Buchanan? Peggy asked, her voice trembling. Paul Buchanan? Neil's never mentioned his name. Who is he? Barnaby looked at her with deep empathy, choosing his words carefully but directly. He's what they call a contractor, Barnaby explained gently. He doesn't build houses or buildings. He contracts to kill people. Peggy shook her head, her mind reeling. I don't understand, she stammered, looking between the two men. What would Neil be doing with a man like that? Peggy, recently a contract was put out on a gambler. JR took over the explanation, his tone gentle but firm, and we believe that Neil was spotted leaving the scene of the murder. Peggy's breath caught in her throat. Neil? She whispered. We're not absolutely certain, but we're pretty sure that your brother works for Buchanan, Barnaby added, correcting the misinformation she had believed for years. Could be even his top man. Peggy stood up abruptly, her hands flying to her face as tears gathered in her eyes. Neil a killer? What are you talking about? I don't believe it. You're lying to me. Look, if you know anything about him. You don't know him. He's my brother. He couldn't hurt anyone, not Neil. She turned to the younger investigator, her voice cracking with a desperate plea. JR, you've got to tell me it's not true. JR, tell me it's not true. JR looked down, his heart aching for her, but his commitment to the truth remained absolute. I wish I could, he said softly, looking back up into her tearful eyes. I'm sorry.
God, I'm sorry.
A short time later, Jim Rhodes escorted a still weak Neil Giroux into the grand, polished lobby of a prominent downtown bank. Jim kept a firm, controlling grip on Neil's arm, his jacket draped carefully over his hand to conceal the weapon he pressed against Neil's ribs. They approached the secure safety deposit vault area, where an elegant bank clerk stood behind a heavy marble counter. Here's the key, Jim muttered to Neil, slipping the stolen key into his palm.
Neil.
No tricks. Neil looked at him with a tired, resolute expression. You got all the cards, Paul, he said quietly, referencing the invisible mastermind pulling the strings. The clerk smiled warmly as they reached the counter. May I help you? She asked politely. Yes, I'd like to get something out of my box, Neil said, forcing his voice to sound normal. Number 714? The clerk pulled out a large ledger. Just sign your name here and your box number, she instructed, pointing to the logbook. Are you both going in? Yes, Jim answered smoothly. Then you'll have to sign on this line right here, the clerk said, turning the book toward Jim. As Neil took the pen and signed his name, his hand shook slightly from the lingering effects of the sedative. The clerk compared the signature to the card on file, her brow furrowing slightly. Mr. Giroux, would you mind signing your name again, please? She asked politely. Jim shifted slightly, his hand tightening under his jacket as a subtle warning to Neil. You're pulling anything, he hissed under his breath. Neil took a deep breath, steadying his hand as he signed the line a second time. That's better, the clerk noted with a professional smile, satisfied with the second attempt. Signatures have a way of changing over the years. This way. She unlocked the heavy security gate, leading them into the private room filled with rows of gleaming metallic boxes. Your key, Mr. Giroux. Oh, Neil said, handing over the key. Here you go, the clerk said, sliding the long metal box out and placing it on a private table. Thank you. She then turned and walked out, leaving them alone. Jim immediately stepped forward, pulling the box open. All right, let's have it, he demanded. Inside the box lay a heavy, vintage revolver, preserved perfectly. So this is what all the commotion was about, Jim muttered, a cold smile appearing on his face. Yeah, that's it, Neil said, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper as his hand suddenly moved with lightning speed, grabbing the gun from the box and spinning around to face Jim. Now, let's have it back again. Jim froze, his eyes widening as he found himself staring down the barrel of the weapon. What are you doing? Jim gasped. Neil's expression was completely devoid of fear, filled with a reckless determination. And don't you forget, I've got nothing to lose, Neil warned. Just then, the clerk walked back into the room, entirely unaware of the life-and-death standoff.
Miss?
Neil said smoothly, keeping the gun hidden beneath his wide coat. Yes, the clerk replied. Finished?
Thank you.
Have a nice day, Neil said, stepping past Jim and heading toward the exit. Jim recovered quickly, his face twisting with rage as he followed him out into the bustling street. It's beginning to look up, Neil muttered to himself as he slipped into the crowd. This way. Right this way, Sam. Nice and easy. Over here. Now beat it. Stay put, man.
Just stay where you are.
You're not going to get away with it, Neil. Let's get him. I'll get Buchanan. Back at Neil's apartment, the telephone rang loudly. Peggy, her eyes red from crying, answered it quickly. Hello? She said, her voice shaking. Peggy, this is Betty, the voice on the other end said urgently. Is Barnaby there? Yes, he was, but he left, Peggy replied, looking around the empty living room. About how long ago? Betty asked. Before Peggy could answer, a loud, heavy knock rattled the front door. Peggy flinched. Betty, can you hold on, please? She asked into the receiver. There's somebody at the door. She set the phone down and pulled the door open. Jim Rhodes stood in the hallway, his face flushed and his expression intensely urgent, entirely devoid of his previous friendly demeanor.
Jim.
Peggy gasped in surprise. Get your coat, Jim ordered sharply, stepping into the room and grabbing her arm. Why, what's happening? Peggy asked, shrinking back from his aggressive grip. I'll tell you in the car, just move, Jim snapped, pulling her toward the door. Jim, I'm on the phone, Peggy protested, pointing back to the desk. What are you talking about? Jim reached over and slammed the telephone receiver back onto its cradle, cutting off Betty completely. I'm sure it's not very important, Jim said, his voice dropping to a low, terrifying hiss as he looked at her with cold, menacing eyes. Now look. You and I are going to walk out of here like two old friends going for a Sunday drive, and you better cooperate with me if you want to see your brother alive again. Let's move. A few minutes later, Barnaby Jones burst into his office, where Betty was frantically trying to redial the number. Oh, Barnaby. Thank heavens, Betty cried, looking up with a look of immense relief. What's the matter? Barnaby asked, noticing her panic. Well, I was just talking to Peggy and a man came to her door, told her to put on her coat, Betty explained rapidly. She asked where they were going, and he didn't say. Then someone hung up the phone. I tried calling her back, but no answer. Barnaby's face hardened as he processed the information. Any idea who the man was? He asked. I'm positive I heard the name Jim, Betty reported. Barnaby nodded, his mind working fast. Wait a minute, that friend of Neil's I met yesterday, Jim Rhodes, he deduced. Anything further on Paul Buchanan? Oh, Betty remembered, pulling up a fresh file. He seems to do rather well in real estate. Office buildings. Apartments. Barnaby let out a grim, cynical sound. He has mortgages and blood, no doubt, he noted dryly. Nice guy. Wait a minute. What did you find? He pointed to a specific entry in the real estate holdings listed under one of Buchanan's dummy corporations. Suncrest Sanitarium, Palisades Road, Barnaby read aloud. If Neil was hurt in that accident. Yeah, JR said, stepping into the room, at some place they could have taken him. Barnaby turned to him quickly. Go check that out, he instructed. Keep trying, Peggy. See what you can get on Jim Rhodes. Will do, JR agreed, turning to leave. Hold on, Barnaby said as the desk phone rang again. He picked it up. On the other end of the line, Neil Giroux stood in a quiet public phone booth, gripping the heavy revolver in his pocket. It's him, Barnaby noted quietly to JR. Neil. Neil spoke into the receiver, his voice tight. I figured I wouldn't have to wait too long to hear from you. Yeah, well, you better listen to what I have to say now, Neil said firmly. I'm ready to make a deal. Barnaby listened intently. I'm listening, he said. I want $500,000 for that gun, Neil demanded. That's a lot of money, Barnaby observed calmly. It's peanuts compared to spending the rest of your life in prison, Neil countered sharply. Well, I guess you do have a point, Barnaby conceded, his voice steady. But before we shake on it. Suddenly, a smooth, terrifyingly familiar voice cut into the line, indicating a three-way connection or a speakerphone on Neil's end. There's someone here I think you should talk to, Paul Buchanan's voice sneered through the line.
Neil?
Peggy's terrified voice cried out in the background. Peggy, what are you doing there? Neil gasped, his composure completely shattering as a cold panic washed over him. Jim Rhodes brought me here, Peggy sobbed. Neil, the things they've been telling me about you, they're true, aren't they? Buchanan's cold laugh cut her off. Okay, Neil, my turn, the mastermind announced smoothly. You have 1 hour to turn over that gun. What happens to my sister? Neil demanded, his voice shaking with pure desperation. You deliver. She walks out free, Buchanan promised coldly. If you don't, you leave me no choice. Understand? Neil closed his eyes, a look of profound defeat crossing his face. I understand, he whispered, hanging up the phone. An hour later, J.R. Jones pulled his car up to a concealed vantage point overlooking the iron gates of the Suncrest Sanitarium on Palisades Road. The sprawling estate looked quiet, surrounded by manicured lawns and high stone walls. J.R. scanned the main building through a pair of binoculars. Well, he looks peaceful enough, J.R. observed dryly to Barnaby, who sat in the passenger seat. Maybe that's why they call him Sanitarium. I want to be over there, Barnaby said, pointing toward a side entrance. It's Jim Rhodes. Take a look down there. He gestured toward a sleek black sedan parked near the gate. Doesn't he look like the fella that was in the picture that Peggy gave us? J.R. noted, adjusting the focus on his binoculars as a tall figure stepped out of the vehicle. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's Neil Giroux. Barnaby's eyes narrowed as he watched Neil approach the building alone, holding a small package. Something funny's going on here, boy, Barnaby murmured. Well, it's only a way to find out what. Inside the sanitarium courtyard, Neil was walking toward the main entrance when J.R. and Barnaby suddenly stepped out from behind a row of thick hedges, blocking his path. Neil's hand immediately flew to his coat pocket, his expression tightening into a defensive glare. Hang up, Neil, Barnaby said calmly, raising his hands in a non-threatening gesture. Now look, whatever Buchanan is paying you, I'll double it. Neil stared at them, his eyes flashing with suspicion. Wrong team, J.R. corrected him gently, validating the gravity of the situation without aggression. We're working for Peggy. We're helping her try to find you. Neil let out a weary, cynical sigh, his shoulders dropping slightly. Peggy, always a family warrior, he muttered softly, a touch of affection breaking through his hardened exterior. You're not going to use that thing to force me to go home like a bad boy, are you? Barnaby looked at him with a serious, grounded expression. I understand the police are looking for you. Too, Barnaby noted directly. You've got to believe me. I haven't got time to paint in the soft colors. You're getting in my way now. It could cost Peggy her life. Why would Buchanan want to hurt your sister? JR asked, wanting to uncover the true intent behind the kidnapping. That's who Jim Rhodes delivered her to, isn't it? Yeah, Neil admitted, looking down at the gravel path. What does he really want? Barnaby pressed. Me, Neil said simply. And this gun?
Why?
JR asked. Buchanan used it on a hit some time ago, Neil revealed, looking up with a look of grim finality. His fingerprints are all over it. Barnaby's expression remained steady, though his mind was moving fast. You've got to be kidding, Barnaby said quietly. You think he's going to let her go after he gets his hands on that? Neil closed his eyes, the crushing weight of his choices finally catching up to him. It was a long shot, he confessed, his voice cracking with emotion. I had to take a chance. I thought I had a chance until I saw Rhodes outside. So you thought you'd make a phone call and negotiate a new deal? JR asked, his tone gentle but direct. Lousy odds, but I don't care about myself anymore, Neil said, a profound sense of remorse in his eyes as he looked at the two detectives. I've got to get Peggy out of there. Barnaby nodded, a supportive yet firm look on his face. All right, Neil, Barnaby said. Make your call. But if you don't mind, I'll tell you what to say. Get the gate. A few minutes later, the heavy iron gates of the sanitarium swung open, and Neil walked forward into the main courtyard, where Paul Buchanan stood waiting, flanked by Ray and Jim Rhodes, who held a tightly bound Peggy by the arm. Neil held up the vintage revolver, his face set in stone. Let's have the gun, Buchanan demanded, holding out a gloved hand. I told you what I wanted over the phone, Neil countered, keeping his distance. You get the gun when she drives out of here. Buchanan offered a cold, patronizing smile. Sure, Neil. Sure, he agreed smoothly, gesturing to Jim. That's the deal. Jim released his grip on Peggy, pushing her forward slightly. Neil. Peggy cried out, rushing to her brother's side and hugging him tightly. Peggy, Neil whispered, holding her close for a brief second. Are you all right? You've got to trust me. No matter what happens, you trust me. Buchanan's patience evaporated in an instant. We've wasted enough time, Neil, he snapped, his voice sharp and menacing. Start driving to the front gate. I kept my end of the bargain. Now, let's have the gun. The other one, too. Before Neil could respond, the sound of screeching tires echoed through the courtyard as JR's sedan swerved into the driveway, blocking the main exit entirely. Barnaby Jones stepped out from the passenger side, a steady weapon leveled directly at Buchanan. Close the gate. Buchanan screamed frantically to his men. What are you doing? Easy, Neil. Easy. Barnaby called out, his voice a calm, commanding presence amid the sudden chaos. Let's go. Back up. Real easy. Now take your gun out and throw it on the ground. Ray and Jim looked at the older detective, then at JR, who had stepped out with his own weapon drawn, completely cutting off any avenue of escape. It's a big mistake, Jim muttered, his hands shaking slightly as he realized they were entirely outmatched. I'd take his word for it, JR replied with a confident, unwavering grin. The tension in the courtyard slowly dissolved as the sound of distant police sirens began to wail, growing louder by the second. Peggy stood beside Neil, looking at him with a mixture of profound relief and a deep, aching sadness as the reality of his hidden life settled over them. Peg, don't feel bad, Neil said softly, looking at her with an expression of pure, unconditional apology. It wasn't your fault. Peggy looked down, a single tear slipping down her cheek. Why did you do it? She whispered, her voice filled with a quiet heartbreak. Neil let out a long, slow breath, looking around at the beautiful estate, then at the handcuffs the approaching officers were preparing to use. I don't know, He confessed honestly, his voice entirely devoid of his previous bravado.
It was easy.
You paid. It was the shortest cut to the things that I wanted, I guess. He looked into her eyes one last time, his expression filled with a genuine, human remorse. Peg, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it all turned out this way. Really? Barnaby Jones stepped forward, placing a gentle, reassuring hand on Peggy's shoulder as the officers moved in to secure the scene. All right, come on, the arresting officer said, stepping between them. Let's go. Come on, Jerome.
Come on.
The siblings shared one final, lingering look of understanding and hope for a better future before Neil turned and walked toward the waiting cruiser, leaving the dark shadows of the Damocles gun behind them forever.